Good morning, good life. Welcome back to the channel. I know you're getting excited about the new year. The January 1 of it all is a beautiful feeling for those of us who like a fresh start. So we come up with our lists, we come up with all of the new habits that we love the idea of, we come up with the person we hope to become. But it's funny how when you look at that list, you might notice that there's a whole lot of new going on. Maybe you're writing things you've never done before or never tried before, and you really want to try. We don't give enough credit to who we've been and how we've gotten to this point. And I would argue that your best year ever could be extremely evident to you already if you simply looked over your past year. So in this video, we're going to do a year in review so that you can not only look at what are we never going to do again so we can free up the time for the newness that we're hoping to achieve, but also to look at the stuff that actually brought us joy over that time that we'd like to see more of in our future. This wasn't even a video I was planning to make. It just sort of came up organically because I was perusing YouTube and I stumbled upon the incomparable Tim Ferriss's community tab. Once again, it is a goldmine. If you are not subscribed to Tim and seeing what he posts in his community tab, there's just so much gold there. Not even watching videos, just reading the community tab will change your life. So I'm borrowing this from him because I think he does an amazing job of simplifying what we need to do to analyze our lives and learn the most important information to take with us into the future. He's just great at asking great questions. All right, we'll start with a blank sheet of paper, super simple. We're just going to write positive and negative. Split it down the middle. Now we're gonna pull up your calendar. You're gonna go back to the first week of this year that you're reviewing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna review your year week by week. You do not need to analyze every single appointment on your calendar. What is for sure is that you're going to see things in your appointment book that are going to trigger feelings. We're gonna look into those feelings today. When you experience a positive emotion from something that you attended or something that you did or a person that you saw, you're gonna write that in the positive column. When you see something on your calendar that triggers a feeling of negativity, as in, I wish I never went to that was so much trouble, that cost too much, I didn't enjoy it, or a person triggers you, you can put them in the negative column. Don't worry, this information is just for you. As I go through my calendar here, I'm just gonna point out some of my favorites. My husband and I had a couple of great date nights. There were also a couple of press appearances that I very much enjoyed. A couple of negatives from my list. Flying alone with a toddler, not my favorite. Actually, last year I didn't really enjoy flying with a baby either. So just flying alone with a baby, not my favorite. I also really don't enjoy filming away from set, unless it's vlogging. I did not enjoy when I had to get something done, but I was not able to do it here in the comfort of my own office. So you're just gonna go through the whole year, watch for feelings, the subtlest or the most pronounced, and write them down. You want this list to be a fair amount of stuff to give you a good shake of how you feel about what you did in the last year. Okay, now you have your positive list and your negative list. For the negative list, we're gonna make this really, really simple. We're just gonna rename the list. This is now called your not to do list. And Tim actually recommends that you keep this list in front of you, wherever you're going to be for the first few weeks of the year, so that you can constantly be reminded that these are not things that you do. So if there's something that you're frequently asked of friends or family, favors to be done or whatever the case, and that's on your not to-do list, you're gonna need that in front of you for when you are asked once again by someone to do something that you don't want to do. You have already reviewed your year and seen that's not something that you're up for. And so you need the reminder for yourself to set that boundary. I saw this great quote on Instagram. She realized it was time to get to the next level, so she started giving things in her life an expiration date. She's ready to level up. Set the expiration date and get this list ready. Laminate it and post it to your computer. Because if the expiration date is December 31st, you're gonna need that to look at a lot. Now look at your positive list. What I loved about Tim's advice here is that it's not just about getting rid of the negative. That's important. We talk about getting rid of the negative and the distractions all the time. That's easy street compared to the actual proactivity of integrating more positivity in your life. You look at everything new on your list for next year and you think that's integrating new positivity into your life. It's actually just building out the next version of yourself, and you don't have a ton of experience with that person yet. What you do have a ton of experience with is everything positive that's happened in the last 12 months. And so we want to zero in on that and say, it's not all bad. There's a lot of good stuff happening here. So how do we really get hyper-focused on taking what was positive and plumping it up big time on the calendar? So what we're going to do with the positive list is, go ahead and count through. I have a short list here. I had a longer list of everything when I did this in private, but circle out of however many you have on the positive list, the top 20%. This is called the 20% rule. Realistically speaking, you can do the 20% rule in both columns. If you're going to look at them and say, I can't make the entire negativity list a not to-do list, that's unrealistic. Regardless, just focus on the top 20%. And when I say that, I mean, what 20% produced the most reliable or powerful peaks? So top 20% positivity is going to be the most needle-moving joy that happened for you in the last year. And that's what we want to focus on. I can't take a trip to South Africa every year, so that's not going to be in my top 20%. I could try. I could really try. Okay, so I'm going to circle date nights with Vin, Broadway shows, because I have been telling him we need to get to New York to do that more often. Activities with Bianca is a big one for me because it's helping her grow so much when we're much more proactive with how she's spending her time. So that's a really big positive for me as a parent. There's a bunch on this list that I would circle because I actually had a longer list, so my 20% is actually higher than 3 things, but I'm trying to do this for the sake of the exercise right now. The cool thing is there's a bunch of stuff on my list that are going to happen no matter what. I can't stand when I stop reading. That's just, it never goes a week. If for some reason I haven't picked up a book in a week, it's weird. So I know that about me. I don't have to really circle that because that's such an ingrained habit for me. Making videos, ingrained. Morning routines, ingrained. So I'm really trying to pull the things that are going to take a bit more effort to do. I'm going to circle 3 negatives too because I think it's really important to focus on the most detrimental things. Definitely unpaid gigs away from my kid, unnecessary interviews that take away from the quality of my work, and late bedtime. Those are a top 3 not to-do list. So now we have these top 20% most needle-moving joy moments of the last year that we can, first of all, sit in our wins. We've been talking about sitting in our wins more. These are wins. You had moments of happiness in the last year, and they could happen more often with that initiative being taken. So if I want more date nights with my husband, I want to go to more shows, and I want to have more activities for my daughter, I can look now at my calendar and say, wow, the next year's looking pretty free at the moment. So instead of just removing the negative, which creates a void, I'm now going to proactively schedule these things. I'm going to start looking up shows I want to go to, buy the tickets, schedule the date, set in stone. Now I'm going to also start looking at what are some restaurants that my husband and I want to go to. Maybe we decide we go once a month, and date night once a month is actually kind of a lot with the life that we have. So if we schedule that, what does that look like? Where are we going to go? I'm going to make the reservation. Activities for Bianca, I already have a running list. Now I know I want to go pay that registration fee. I'm going to start booking that time on our family calendar that she's going to start going to gymnastics or swim lessons, and just start filling in that time that's really critical for her and stimulating her mind and her body. This is where the magic happens, that you have those moments of, I made this time for myself in advance. And when the wrong things come around and are asked of you, like the favors or the parties that just aren't really worth it, you can say no, because I'm going to a show that weekend with my husband. Or, oh, that's our regular date night. I can't make that happen. Or, oh, I actually have something already for the kid. Got to go to that. It's a top priority. And you can feel so good about those moments of saying no because it was coming from a place of making sure you got the joy that that you feel in your new year. Now, are you going to schedule out your entire year? I don't know. I guess it depends on how type A you are. For me, I love the idea of that personally, but I also know that things change. I might take a trip to Columbus where I'm not going to want to have things booked during that time. And now I'm going to think, okay, well, when would Columbus be? And that's kind of a top 20% thing. So when you are looking at What is my new year going to be like? And who am I going to become? What joy have you already experienced that isn't just based on potential, which faith and potential is amazing, but your own experience is just as amazing as well. And if you can lean into those feelings and say, I want more of that, it'll be so much easier for you to have your best year ever. If you trust your intuition, your experience, and your feelings about what you love.